Hello, hello, and welcome everybody to the new episode today. And as usual, this is your host, Coach Kamrul Hassan. So, আশা করি আপনারা সবাই ভালো আছেন, সুস্থ আছেন, নিরাপদে আছেন এবং নিরাপদে থাকবার জন্য চেষ্টা করছেন। কারণ that's what our goal, overall, our objective. So, আপনারা যারা জয়েন করছেন লিখে জানান। আজকে আমাদের আসলে খুবই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ একটা টপিক, যেটা আসলে আমাদের সবার জন্যই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। আমরা যেখানে আছি, যেভাবে আছি, যেই বয়স অথবা যেই পজিশন, ইটস ইরেসপেক্টিভ। You could be a multi-millionaire businessman, or you could be a student, or you could be a mid-level manager or a senior professional. Does not matter. Who doesn't have a goal? I think everybody has. So to talk about the goal setting, and also at the same time how we can take small bite-size doable steps towards the goal intentionally. To talk about this, I got two wonderful friends of mine, and both of them, as you know, and as you have heard them, you have seen them, and you have probably interacted with them as well through digitally. And they are none other than the founder of Key Leadership Institute from South Africa. It's my pleasure and privilege to welcome JanRobberts and Arthie Moore into this program.
Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Lovely to see you here.
Yes, wonderful to be here again and join you, my dear friend. It's a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. We're saying hello to everybody, and let's say hi and hello who are joining with us, whoever will be joining and listening right now. So say hello to us and the guest both. And at the same time, tonight we are going to walk with you with your goals, number one, and what are you struggling with your goal to achieve. So let us know. So first of all, we got so many questions out for you, for the audience. Apart from the greetings, definitely welcome, and then let us know if you have goal. If you don't have, set a goal. If you have goal, what's the goal it is? Let us know on the comment, and how you want us to help. So Jan and Arthie. So a lot of time we actually seen and experience the goal setting doesn't work, and people say, no, actually I have set the goal and it doesn't work. It's not working. So let's not look into the goal anymore. Let's work.
Well, I think, one of the most important things about, especially with our conversation today, I'd like to encourage everybody when they're thinking about their goals is not to think about these big things that everybody talks about. Most
Correct.
people talk about visions and what they want to achieve in their lives. And when people think about goals, they think it's got to be the latest car or a bigger house or, traveling. Those are all beautiful, amazing, big goals. And they are very achievable. But I think that for today, what would be stunning is to hear what everybody's small steps are. What are the small goals you would like to achieve in this week or in this next few weeks or even this next month or two? What's important to you as a person? What would make you feel better? Whether it is finishing an important book, whether it is writing a poem, whether it is writing a few chapters of what you would like to do, whether it is creating a vision for yourself, even doing a vision board. Now, those are all small goals, but it's major impact goals. Even if it is something like maybe you join a different group, find a mentor, those are goals. If you find a coach, that's a goal. If you decide that you want to be an extra kind this week to everybody, that's a goal. If you want to restrain yourself in the way you communicate, stop doing something that is not good and kind, or even look at your health or your where you're at in terms of your fitness. In this week, what can you do to change or adjust in your daily habits? Those are small steps and goals that makes more sense. So that when we're talking today about our goals and being intentional, it makes sense that we stream this entire conversation around what we can achieve in a week, so that when we come together next week, we can talk about it and find out what frustrated you, what did you find worked for you, what didn't work for you. Then we can support you better in that. If that makes sense, that is what I think would be really, really incredible and allow us to add more value to everybody's life.
Absolutely. So for the audience, those are watching right now, and maybe you would be watching in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 days, you have heard it from Arthie Moore. So that let us know what goals you have and where are you now, and are you struggling or are you willing to go forward? Let us know, how we can help you right now here. So our, the master trainer, master coach, and the resources from John Maxwell Certified Speaker, Trainer, and Coach. As you see, both of them, gentlemen and lady, good friend of mine, Jan, is waiting to speak. Jan, so let's talk about it.
I'm usually waiting to listen. Yeah, because I think quite often, and I've just been on a nearly 2-hour mastermind, and it's amazing when you listen how much you actually do learn. And like everybody else here, we all need to learn every day. And I've set goals as well. And being not only doing masterminds, but being on a mastermind was one of my goals, because I think all of us, we need to practice what we preach as well. We need to walk the walk. And when I first came across goals, everybody talked, especially in network marketing, everybody talked about, what is your financial freedom goal, and what is your favorite house you want, and the big car. And it distorts things, because I'm sure there's many of our watchers and listeners today will probably think the same. That's not for me. I can never reach that. I will never know how to get there, because I am who I am, where I am just now. And it's so important, because our goal should be from where we are with what we've got, do it right now. It's not about, yes, I hope you at some point have an extraordinary goal that somebody said, it needs to be so big that it scares you half to death. Yes, please, there's nothing wrong with having a goal like that, but how are you ever going to get there? If that's the only goal you keep in your focus, you will get very disappointed, because it's going to take so long to ever get there. So I think Arthie already mentioned it, but I think it is so important. All these journeys, like Gandhi didn't get where he was all of a sudden. They say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step, and he did a long walk. Mandela, he was spent 27 years in jail, and so that didn't happen overnight. Martin Luther King didn't stand in front of the Lincoln Monument. All of a sudden he appeared. Everyone, it doesn't matter how big or how small, they take small steps at first, and it's those small steps are the most important, because not only can we take small steps every single day, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about intentional living as well, but also that we can celebrate all these small steps every day, and that is very important. We are sometimes so focused on the bigger goals, and then when we get one, okay, now next, and at some point we get tired, because we're always on the go, and we're always doing stuff, and we're not seeing the results we want yet. So people get this bonded, they despondent, they get frustrated, and a lot of people give up. And I think you wouldn't give up quite so quickly if even the small goals in your life, however small they may seem. When we started walking, for example, when we first got up, when we fell down again, our parents encouraged us, come on, you can do it. And when you stood up and even stood there for a few seconds, they would celebrate and clap their hands and everything. But even when we went on a bicycle, we got on our bike, we fell off, we scraped our knees, we went back to mom, and they kissed it better and put the plaster on it. And driving, we didn't jump the car and drive away. We might have stalled the car. What do? Do we leave the car and say, well, it's not for me? No, we started over again. And that's another thing. We can always start over again, but we cannot start over again if we haven't started something in the first place. So if we have small goals that we can do every day, by the time you are 6 months further, you look back and say, hey, I have achieved a lot, haven't I? And you need to take a note of all your successes as well, so you can celebrate this.
So essentially, Jan, you're talking about doing the same thing, small things every day, repeatedly. And the direction has to be towards the goal. towards the objective. So Arthie, coming back, so let's say I am today December 30th. So tomorrow is the 31st. And I really want to set goal financially. I really want to set goal, professionally. I really want to set goal relationship-wise. Let's say three important things. And also physically, emotionally, mentally, and those things. So imagine this, and how do I begin? Get a pen, paper, write it down, or what are the things you'd suggest for everybody? Let's talk about this, steps.
I can talk about what I normally do, and this has
Sure.
worked for me since I was 13 years old.
Mhm.
It's a small thing that I worked out that has huge significance. First, not just any pen and paper.
Mhm.
If you really believe in what you want to achieve in your life, what you deserve to have in your life, you're going to have to start with your mindset, because it doesn't matter what you put on your piece of paper. You will either achieve it or you will fail at it, depending on your thinking. So my suggestion is that it's the day before a new year. I don't believe in year's resolutions. I believe in lifetime promises to yourself, where we create intentions for ourselves of what we want to do and create, and then embrace a journey of growing. Now, a lot of people will say that goals are hard and it's difficult to get a perfect plan for it. But that's the thing. Goals don't have to have a perfect plan. The amazing part about this is that when you visualize what you deserve in your life first, then only
Correct.
will the goal start to make sense. So if
Mhm.
you say, I want a new car, okay, what does it look like? What would it feel like? What is the color of it? So the more specific we are, the more intentional we become. So if we are sitting the day before New Year's, you get a beautiful book. You gotta make sure it is a beautiful book, but even if it's just a cheap book, you gift wrap it and you make it your gift to yourself. Because when you write in it, you are going to be writing with intentions of I deserve beautiful, amazing things into my life. When you start with that mindset before you even start to write in it, already you've programmed your mind to believe that this is a book filled with success. If you write on scraps of paper and you just leave it lying around, then it shows that you didn't have much, you didn't place much importance in what you wrote. Now, before you even start to write, as I said, you need to visualize what you're wanting. So a lot of people will set New Year's resolutions and they will fail at it because they put unrealistic goals on themselves. What they'll do is they'll watch Bollywood movies and they'll look at this dude and this chick that looks so amazing and gorgeous and has got and has got a massive fan following. But what they forget is that that person on screen has got access to millions of dollars worth of pampering, lighting, and all of the costumes. Everything has been provided for them. When you're setting your goals, you look realistically at where you are at in life and then create where you deserve to go. So I'm saying you deserve to have that beautiful life, that beautiful image, hold that image, but also understand that as you write your goals, it is also dependent on the environment you're in. And so when you're going to do that, when you
So that
write
means
down
you're, Arthie, that means you're talking about the reality check, right? Where am
exactly
I
the
right now?
reality check, you have to have a hint of realism in everything that you do. Because a lot of people say that they want to be 60 kilos and they're 120, but they say in 6 months' time, I'm going to do that. They have not worked out the tiny baby steps and goals from the eating plan realistically in their environment. What are they going to be able to adjust and change with what they buy or what is being provided for them in their environment that's going to add value to the success of that goal? So also being realistic in that way. If you're living in a home where everything's done in butter, ghee, and sweetmeats are always there, how are you going to keep your goal, right? So realistically, you're also going to you're going to need your people around you to be supportive. If I want a relationship, here's the important part. It's not what other people's relationships are like. You can
Correct.
always look at people as role models, but you can't have exactly what they have, because the relationship you attract to yourself is the one that resonates with where you're at in terms of the level of your heart, your expectations, your love language, your belief in yourself. You'll attract the person that suits you. So when you look at other people's relationships, it's wonderful. But when you're writing the goals, be specific. The person I want in my life will be well educated, will be caring, thoughtful, will be generous in their words, will be gentle with the way they speak to other people, is loving, is romantic. But then what's your idea of that? See, you gotta be very specific. A lot of people do I want tall, dark, and handsome. And I want that Mustang, and I want that house around the corner that's got 6 bedrooms. Realistically, will your environment be conducive to get you that in this next year? Now, I'm not saying don't have big goals. I'm saying that you need to do the tiny baby steps to be able to get towards that. And that's where a vision board comes into play. So when you're writing down the goals, step away from everybody, go and find a quiet corner, have your beautiful book, and visualize exactly what it is, and then go and do the research for it. If you're talking about realistically, I want to get to a specific weight, go and do the research of exactly what you need to do every single day, from an eating habits to your eating plan to the exercises, for you to get to that point. And then you attach affirmations to it. And then what you do is you get to the point where you share that with people who hold you accountable. But you got to make sure you share that with trustworthy people. So if you're looking for a game plan, know that whatever you write down, you need to be intentional, but also be realistic, and then attach details to it that's going to help you on a daily basis.
Correct. So, and also coming to then Ian, I was thinking, then everybody actually, why I talked about the 31st and New Year resolution, because that's the common phenomena. And then we see the closing the chapter a bit within a month. So the goals had been closed, either achieved or unachievable. So that's the, everybody has the objective and goal. It's nothing wrong. And because this is there are reasons also those are not working. So I was thinking actually also why I want to achieve that goal. Why I'm looking forward actually. Do I really looking for? Do I really need this? Do I really want it? And what sacrifice I'm willing to put to have this goal? Is it in line with my passion, with my profession, with my purposes? What do you want to talk about this, Ian? So aligning the other resources.
Well, that's actually a very good question, because that was exactly what's going through my head as well. So it must be a good question. Yeah. First of all, I can't understand why people wait till January the 1st before they ever set a goal. There's a friend of ours actually. He says Happy New Day rather than Happy New Year. And when you say that, that means every day you've got another opportunity to do it all over again. But if you, as you already pointed out, usually by the end of January, I think 3 to 6 weeks after the 1st of January is where most people give up on their goals and they say, okay, I'll do it again next year. And I can't understand why wait another nearly whole year to do exactly the same again. And you mentioned already a very important part of it. And at the moment I'm actually working on a program about discovering your why and your purpose, because I think you can make the goal doesn't have to be perfect. First of all, the goal has to be yours, and it doesn't matter what other people think of it, as long as it speaks to your heart, to your soul. Because a lot of these things are nice to have. I'm going to the gym and I'm going to do this. That's a nice to have. Do you really want it? Are you really passionate about the gym? I hate the gym, but I'm going to do it because, I need to get fitter. Well, there is other ways to get fitter. And if you're going to buy a gym membership and you're not going to use it, you might as well, take a walk around the block every day. It'll get you fit as well. But you need to connect. I think you need to connect your why, your purpose. What is your destiny? What is your real journey on this earth? Because we've all got a journey to walk, and most of us. If I ask most people right now on this who are watching this, what is your purpose? What is your real why? I would be pretty sure that most people would not be able to tell me that. And you know, I know there's a lot of students and a lot of young people, and it's even more. It's important for everybody, even more important for them, because if you don't know what you want really, then anything will do. And this is how in life around the world, so many people do a job that they don't like, do a job hours they don't like, the boss they don't like. They're basically doing something that doesn't speak to them. And yes, every Monday morning, like it was Monday again today, every Monday morning they sigh and they say, "Oh, you know, it's 5 days before we get to the weekend again." And it's because it is not their desire, not the. Yes, they know we all need to make money, but the real issue of a goal is, if it is something, never mind how small it starts, but if it is something, however small, if it is something that you're passionate about, something that you really powerfully desire, whether it's for you or for other people, even more so when it's for other people, because sometimes when you fail for yourself, it is easy to give up. But when you actually fail and it involves somebody else, you're much more likely to get going again. And it's much more satisfying as well, because you might not appreciate you, but other people will appreciate you because you've done something that is important to them. And I quite often say, you know, if you have challenges, take the focus off yourself and put it on others. It'll make your challenges go away. So goal setting is a great way to do it, because it gets you, and that's why we are coaches as well. All three of us are coaches, of course, but also in coaching, the idea is that we want to help you from where you are to where you want to be. But there is two things about that. You better find out where you are, and you better find out where you even want to be. And it's not just something, oh, I read something in a magazine, that would be nice to have. No, what do you really want? So I think when you start goal setting, yes, get used to the practice of goal setting, small ones. Do something that you can celebrate every day. Not even, even say, today I'm going to help my neighbor, and I'm going to go and ask my neighbor if they need anything from the shops. I'm going to the shops. That's a goal. It might be silly, it might be small, but it's a goal. You go to them, they might want something, you help a neighbor. You take your eyes off yourself and help somebody else. But you can celebrate. You did something today that was worthwhile. And you know, if you do that often enough, all of a sudden you look back and you start achieving bigger goals, because goal setting has to become a habit. And habits, some people say it takes 21 days. Some people take 66. Well, I say, well, do it for 66 days. At least you're sure you've got the habit. But do something every day to get you one step closer to what you really desire. And if it's something that's nice to have, you might just skip a week here. And, well, you know, and that's what happens in New Year's resolutions most of the time. People will try something. They will try to get fit. They will try to stop smoking. They will try to lose weight. But trying is the back door of failure wide open, because you either do or you don't. And when you start setting goals, that's a good thing about it. You're going to get a mindset. I have done. I told you I was going to do this. Get an accountability partner in goal setting. Tell them what you want to achieve. Maybe not every day, but tell them every week or every month, I am going to achieve this. So now if you have a real goal worthwhile, bring it out in the open. I want to speak on the stages of the world. Okay, that's not going to happen overnight. But what are you going to do on a daily, on a weekly basis to make sure that you improve your personal development, your speaking, your chanting? You're going to speak for free in schools and communities. You know, start taking these small steps, and before you know it, you're somewhere, and you might not even think, how did I get there? But when you look back, I say, I know how I got there. And the good thing, the beauty of that is, I can now help other people to get there too, or inspire other people. Because I'm no different than anybody else. None of us is. We're all level. We're all equal as human beings. And that needs to be said even more so at this time in what's happening around the world. But we're all human beings. We're all equal. We all should all respect each other. But we're all the same. And you know, if other people see where you came from or where I came from and I have achieved, that should inspire people, because you can say, hey, I am no different to you. All I've done is, I'm like an ordinary person, haven't done extraordinary things. What was the extraordinary thing? I set myself goals and I took action and followed through.
Very good going. So I'll be back again, definitely. So for the audience, we want to have questions, And if anybody wants to jump into to ask directly, if you say yes, I will give you the link. Whoever wants to. In the meantime, there are a lot of questions too. We will take all the questions and we will help you tonight, methodically. So before going that, I was thinking as Jan left, right, and where I was thinking like, often we set goal, okay, from tomorrow to the 31st, from tomorrow I want to run 10 kilometers a day. And 2 hours exercise. But past, I haven't run even a kilometer. And the next day I set my 10 kilometers, 2 hours. And then I started to want to wake up in the morning. Let me sleep a bit more, maybe tomorrow. Rather than having the 10-kilometer target is okay, but to set the 10 kilometer after 6 months, tomorrow 5 minutes, just a walk like a cat. And then come back and rest, have something, and next day go back and walk like a monkey or something like this. Just making a fun out of it. Because all of a sudden we want to be tiger. So, I got a question, interesting question, which I want Arthie also to answer. Shishir Bora, I have too many goals. How should I choose important goals among them? As you see on the screen. You see, too many goals. Why too many goals is there? And then is a struggle. How do I choose? Why to choose?
Well, my answer to that is, why did you write so many down?
Right. That is the.
Why did you write so many down?
Yeah.
This happens to all of us. Sorry, Shishir, we are not joking out of you. This happens. This is a common phenomena. You see, this is a personal goal. You got the problem, Shishir, I think. Why I need to write so many goals, which is okay, Arthie, please continue.
Okay.
Why
so
it happens?
the first thing I've worked out in life is that we take ourselves too seriously. And we need to have more fun with ourselves, right?
Right.
And when we write a lot of goals, it's because we want to achieve too many things quickly. And the chances are, if you look at the goals, there's a high probability it's including what other people want or Shishir. It might be family, it might be pressure from people around him, it could be what parents want, what people have said that he must do. And what I've realized is that sometimes when we are under pressure to put down goals, we don't just put what we want for our lives, we do what we have to achieve for everybody else. So when you're choosing important goals, you choose a balance of what works for you first, what would make you happy first, and that's going to be the hardest one. Because normally what happens is people put pressure and say, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, or you need to be a professor. So your goals will start to be to achieve all of the things you need to do to be in line with the education system for those goals. But then maybe it's not your passion. So then when you look through your goals and you see what makes you happy, what makes your heart sing, what makes you feel excited, then you choose those and you make them priority. And then you put in a little bit of everybody else's stuff too. So I was laughing because when I was growing up, I did the same thing. I wrote so many goals. That's why I was laughing, is because I actually ended up doing everything that everybody else wanted. And coming from a huge family, it was everybody else's stuff. It was a lot.
Yeah, I also did the same mistake. A lot of goals and then overwhelmed. And then, no, I cannot do anything. Leave it. So, thank God you're choosing something. So, another interesting question, and I think it's a good question too. Afsara Adiba, really, really good question. Can I have the question on the screen? Computer screen mein aana jayega the question. Right. Fantastic. Good. Is a goal can be perfect, or else we have to make it perfect? Ian, what do you think? Goals is perfect to begin, or it can be perfecto while you began?
It's a good question, and it is something that a lot of people fall down with at any age. They want everything to be perfect. Life is not perfect, so why should our goals be? Our goals can be the perfect goal for us, but to me, if I have something that is what I'm passionate about, you might not be, Arthie might not be, or Sandra might not be either, but it's perfect for me. So we don't have to be concerned about whether other people think it's perfect, and we don't have to make it perfect. We just have to make it work. See, it is always, there's many people who've written down goals and they do nothing about it. I mean, John Maxwell says it very, very clearly. He says that many people have good intentions, but the roads are paved with good intentions. And he says people with good intentions do something good occasionally, and people who live an intentional life do something good continually. Now, if you live an intentional life, that means however small those goals are. But if you actually get up, because done is better than perfect. There's another thing about perfect. Done is better than perfect. But if your goal is not perfect, but you've got it done, if you want to improve on it, you can do it even better tomorrow. But now you've got experiences to take with you to tomorrow. See, experience is life's way of being able to start all over again, more informed. That's experience, and that comes through failure, of course. But see, if you attempt a goal that's not perfect and you fail, you haven't really failed. You've actually gained experience, and that's what we need to think. Again, our friend John Maxwell writes about it, failing forward. And sometimes we win and sometimes we learn. And that's not for any other reason that our goals don't have to be perfect. We don't even have to make them perfect. But when you achieve them, it's a perfect result for you. And that is what's important. And I think I can talk about it forevermore, but I think that's as simple as it gets for me anyway. I hope it answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a quote as well. Like, you don't have to be perfect to begin, but if you begin, maybe at some point you can be better. It's a summary of the quote. It's not the exact quote, but of time we actually wait like a sniper. The tiger is waiting at the perfect range and then jump. It's only the tiger does. It's only they do it. Because they know they have so many things, but as a human being, I'm just making out of fun because that's maybe more relating with that. The tiger takes a perfect or leave it, and even they fail it. But as a human being, we got to begin and then achieve, and then there is nothing called perfectionism, and that's a disease because that kills potential. What do you want to say, Arthie? Because that's a common problems to human being. It's a procrastination. We talk about procrastination. Everybody is a disease.
You know, one of the things that I worked out with perfectionism is it is the most destructive trait that any person can have in this lifetime. Whoever came up with even personality types that created that should be shot somewhere, because it is the thing that causes people to commit suicide. It is what breaks up marriages, relationships. It's what makes people feel like they're not worthy. It's what kills self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth. Because everybody is so looking for the perfect employee, the perfect daughter, perfect daughter-in-law, the perfect son, perfect husband, perfect man, perfect father. This society and this world is so stuck on perfect. They've forgotten to acknowledge the human being. And everybody always talks about we're all unique. So if we really truly are unique, then why do people keep looking for the image of perfection? Why do people actually push themselves? When you look at some goals and how it can go wrong, for a person who wants to achieve being the perfect weight becomes anorexic. They become bulimic. They start throwing up because they're looking for the perfect image, because their goal was to lose weight and they weren't doing it fast enough and it wasn't working for them. They didn't feel good enough. They didn't feel accepted. They didn't feel like people acknowledge them. They didn't feel beautiful enough. So they go to the wrong way of doing things in the quest for perfection. And when you look at, is a goal perfect and can we make it perfect? I would suggest that you change the perspective. Say that you can have a goal and it will adjust according to your needs as you continue on your journey, because maybe circumstances change, maybe your environment changes, and then your goal will adjust. The thing with a goal is you don't seek perfection. What you're
Yeah.
looking for is achievement, not even completion. Because there might be some goals that you choose that you'll never complete because it did not resonate with you because of changes in your life. Because maybe you found a different path, and the goal that you'd originally set for yourself, it doesn't work anymore for you. And it's okay to change the goal. Just make sure that you're being very specific about why you're doing it and how it's going to add value to your life. That's the difference that I would look out for.
So great. So I want another question to be in front of the screen. Computer Mahashay, Sabrin Bishasha question, right. So we're coming to that. You read it, Arthie or Ian. I was bringing the intonation and notion into the house that all of we are adult. Anything that we want to achieve in life, but we forget, we do not want to change here neurologically. We do not want to, as you Arthie began, like creating the visualization is a creation. And that creation happens, as Ian said, building habits. And I say also this building habits, that means the change into the neuron point of view, the behavioral point of view. A lot of people don't understand what is the actually habit. Habit is the behavioral changes, adaptation, the body, the mind, and the speak. So this is one thing, and this is significantly important to achieve any goal we set, unless until we are changing a neuron point of view, neurological point of view, behavioral point of view. আমাদের আচার ব্যবহারটাকে পরিবর্ধন পরিমার্জন অ্যাডাপ্টেশন করতে না পারছি, we are not actually stepping into. So that's the notion. So I'm going to Ian to talk about the Sabrin's question.
Yeah, it's a wonderful question yet again, and thank you for asking. And there's a few things in there I see. You know, sometimes a goal set is not beneficial. Then feel free to change goals. Goals are not like trees; you can move them. You know, and so if goals should be set in sand. You know, your purpose should be in stone, but your goals to get there should be in sand, because sometimes you will hit obstacles. That you know, you might say, by next week I would have liked to achieve this, and you hit an obstacle and it's not going to happen. Don't beat yourself up about that for starters. So you hit an obstacle, you might have to go around it. So the goal might have to go this way and then come back and go to it. If your purpose is strong enough, you might have to find a way to get around there, over there, under there, but you'll get to it eventually. That's why if you do something that really is, you're really passionate about, that you, whatever happens, if I achieve that one thing in my life, I feel that I've led a life of significance. I feel that I've achieved something. And he also says that, you know, I have to make sure of my goal exactly. You don't need to know the exact outcomes of your goals or the exact journey of your goals. The first thing is you need to know your goal and write it down, because having a goal in your head is like a dream, it's like a wish. It is a nice to have. It's most likely never going to happen. You mentioned just what you mentioned earlier on about running. Well, our friend, and he's also a John Maxwell member, our friend Andy Hall, he actually normally does a marathon every year, and he writes down his whole schedule. You know, this day he ran 10 kilometers, and the next day he walked 5 kilometers. But it didn't start with 10. He says he has a 90-day or a 100-day goal where he, before the marathon as well, that he really needs to get his, so great game. He has a goal plan for every single day of the week until he gets to the marathon, so he knows he's properly prepared. So when we have a goal that we need preparation for, we need to ensure that we prepare beforehand, whatever that takes. But he also says, it takes, what will you refer for being fixed on your goal? Well, there is a few things about that as well. First of all, some people feel they need to get motivated or inspired to go and do something. I say don't do that, because inspiration, actually inspired, comes from within. See, motivation is to move. How are you going to do that? People get it wrong. They might go to a Les Brown seminar, or a Zig Ziglar. Well, Ziglar has passed away, but some Edward Thomas, another powerful speaker, and they get inspired by what they say on a Saturday, and then Monday happens again. And before we notice, we're back to normal, and we're hoping that the weekend can't come quick enough because we don't like our job. Now, then I'm saying is, what do you really want? So people then wait until something else will inspire them to get going. No, what you need to do is get going. And once you start liking it so much, you get inspired and motivated to do more. So usually that inspiration and that inspiration might get you started. But once you get started, you will get motivated to actually keep going, because now you see the fruits of your hard labor, the fruit of your because you persevered and you've got consistency. Now you keep going and you say, hey, I love what's happening and I want to do more of it. And you get inspired because other people start noticing your goals and they say, keep going, you're doing well. And you get encouraged. Not at first, it's a lonely job at first, but to be fixed on your goal. Don't be too fixed that you can't see anything else, because sometimes that is dangerous. Focus, yes. Focus on what you need to do. And don't have the distraction that you say, oh, okay, I need to go on my laptop to check this out. And before and you want to check something out, and we've all done it, and me included, and we go and check something out, and then we see this, and then we see that. And before we know it, we sit 3 hours on the laptop doing all kinds of things. And for today, our goal never got achieved because we got sidetracked. And is this then, that can mean two things. Either your goal is not important enough, or it's not focused enough, or it's too long term. Because the danger is not that we set goals we cannot reach. And that's a Les Brown quote, and it's not exactly this, but the danger is that we set goals which are too small, which we can reach every day. That's not stretching ourselves. We need to set goals that stretch us. We need to set goals that really are worth celebrating. Just going to the shopping, that's not a goal. That's just something you do. And if you want to celebrate that, please do. I'm not standing in your way, but you might have a lot of celebrations and not a lot doing if you do that. But make sure that if you want to focus on your goal, make sure that it is important to you, that it is important to the outcome of what you really want in the end of it. Because daily goals sometimes are sad, they're lonely things to do, and tedious sometimes. That means tedious, that sometimes you feel that they take too long and that it's too much to do. But even if you've got goals that take a bit long to do, break them up in smaller bits. But break them up in how do you eat an elephant? And I'm an animal lover. So, yeah, one bite at a time. That also means just make sure that you set your bigger goals, but turn them to manageable sizes and manage them. Manage your goals, because if you can't, and you need to be able to measure it, because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. But don't be scared that if sometimes you get off goal, because we all have days that we don't do what we said we were going to do with all good intentions. Stuff happens. Don't beat yourself up. There is always another day tomorrow. When we are lucky enough and blessed enough that every day we wake up, we get another chance to do it all over again, and this time better.
Right. So goals. We got another question today. We're dealing with the questions. Farhana Tasnim, as the question is Tasmin. Farhana Tasmin. The question, Computer Mahashai, please. Right. So before the question comes, what I want to bring that is, it's a common question for a common scenario that we have big goals, nothing wrong. Even I have tremendous bigger goals, scary goals, a lifetime. But we don't break it down, as you said. Somebody, let's say, I want to buy, say hypothetically, a aircraft, a personal jet, or something like the Tony Robbins does, right? I want. So let's say for an example, right? And then I'm having the goal, and I'm not going to somebody who actually did it. So what I mean by saying that, somebody has done the same, walked the road. I want to achieve, say, $100, my goal's value, but I'm not actually investing maybe 2%, 3%, or 5% of the goal's value. Because I thought it's an expense. I thought, why do I need to put something into this to achieve that goal? But my goal is bigger. But I'm not willing to come out to do something. Eventually forget that if we do that, if we go to the expert, maybe somebody who has done it, maybe somebody who has worked that it. So what do you want to talk about it, Arthie?
I think that is brilliant, because it can be a lonely journey when you do this by yourself. But it can be a fun journey where you're guaranteed success and achievement if you engage with people and you look for success stories and failure stories. What did other people do and where did they fail, so that you use their story and their journey as a guidance of what you should or shouldn't do. And I think exactly what you're saying. If you think about it, if I invest in myself right now by finding a coach or a mentor or a training program, or I find something that adds value to my life, the investment right now fast tracks my ability to achieve that goal. So if I want to become a very well-known speaker, one of the things that I need to find out first is how to articulate myself, which means that I should invest my time in Toastmasters and in speaking programs and in engaging with people with online programs and speaker clubs. What I'm doing then is I'm searching for answers, and I'm searching for opportunities, and I'm searching for material that's going to help me in terms of my self-development and my self-growth. So what you're talking about there, very simply, is choose to invest in yourself no matter what the cost is right now. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your goal will be dependent on the amount of time that you put in for yourself and how much did you see that you are worth. So what you're doing really is you're investing in your self-worth, and you're giving yourself the tools and the techniques to help you succeed. So when you look at it, it's not a cost, it's an investment. Because if you can invest in yourself right now and get your mindset right, then every other goal that you decide to create, it boosts your confidence that all you got to do is just step up and look for different avenues that adds value to you. And then you guaranteed success. One of the biggest things that I found with people is that they will complain that they did not achieve their goal because it was too big or it was useless, or nobody helped them, or nobody supported them. My question to them would be, why did you give up on yourself? Instead of blaming other people, if you think about it, you gave up on yourself by not demanding external ability for people to help to build you and grow you. You see, because within our own families and our friends, not everybody has got the same intentions to help you succeed. People will love you to the best of their ability, but it's not their problem to help you succeed. They'll guide you in the best way they know how, or they will hold you back.
Right.
So my thing is that you are always responsible for your own success and your own development by choosing to invest in yourself.
Absolutely. So with this, there is another thing which is common, mistake. Say, I want to achieve a goal in 5 years, and I started working into it, and I'm thinking, I will go there in 5 years. But what if maybe there are some expert, maybe there are some process tools, techniques, and resources tools. Maybe I can achieve that goal if I adopt that, maybe in year number 2.
Exactly.
So that means I'm actually saving 3 years of my lifetime to be there by putting into this investment, this program or that program, things like this. So that means eventually we are buying time.
Exactly.
Who says time cannot be bought? I often say and challenge, yes, time could be bought. We could buy time. And what you do want to say? Somebody wants to travel in some places. That I say example is, you have a choice. You can go by bus. You have a choice. You can hire a taxi, a limousine. You can have regular aircraft or a charter something faster enough right now from my top of my roof to the place. What is your call on that? Talk about this concept, buying time towards the goal by putting the resources into the barrel and then pump into it. We have the water pump in the villages earlier days, pumping, and then starts coming up the water at some point of time. And then let's talk about it. So this pumping and then making it faster, 5 years to 3 years or 2 years. But certainly not everything is possible. I understand, so we know it. Arthie.
Well, I think that's a brilliant question because we've physically experienced it ourselves. We set a massive goal that was to put 20,000 people in the stadium. We created it as one of our big goals, and we thought, let's do it next year. And we had amazing motivation, and we brought in teams of people, and then it fell flat because life happened. And things happened, and then circumstances happened, and decision makers don't come through. See, this is what I'm talking about, goals, when you're being very specific. So then we set it for a couple of years. Now, what I realized by speaking to some experts and people who've done it differently, I looked at the way they had done stuff in their environment, and I adjusted my thinking, which meant now, what would have been looking at a whole lot of people in one day, if we just staggered it over a few months, we could achieve that in a massive way with a small group of people without much cost, and it was adjustable. So the key there is that it's adjustable. So when you're looking at your goals, that whole analogy you had of putting pressure on a water pump, and you keep working at it consistently. You see there's consistency in there. And you don't give up. You continue until you achieve water pouring through the taps. But it takes work. It takes energy. And it takes dedication. And it takes you putting in the effort in the same way that you would for any goal.
Massive action.
Up on yourself.
Massive action.
You can't just get up in the morning and say, I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel motivated. I don't like this goal. Well, if you don't like the goal, change it, right? If you're going out and you don't like an outfit, you change it. In the same way, you choose to change and adjust your goals in the way that it suits you. And one of the suggestions is that for all of our listeners here, Google what SMART goals are. There are enough things on the internet and Google that gives you advice on how to set SMART goals, because that gives you, especially for people who are perfectionists, it gives you a structure to follow. So S is for simple. Keep your goals simple, measurable by making sure you put a timeline to it. Now, when I write down my goals, I always write a deadline of when it is going to be achieved. So, and how I'm going to achieve it and what needs to be done. How will I know that I've completed it? So I created in sections and I put times to it. So I would say that by in the next 2 months, this is what I need to do. And I measure my progress according to it, like a timeline. And then it needs to be achievable. So don't say I want a Mustang right now. And realistically, you cannot afford to buy a loaf of bread and say that you're going to get it in 6 months. So unless you're going to win the lotto or you're going to achieve something really massive, be clear. Is it achievable so that you don't depress yourself? That by the time of 6 months has happened, you haven't done much. Then make sure it's realistic. So when you look at everything around you, it doesn't have to define what you can have in terms of your goals, but also be realistic in whether you can actually, you've got the resources, you've got the support, you've got the environment, you've got the tools, the techniques, all of the programs that you need to develop yourself to get there, and make it time-based. So I always put a date, a specific date, and a month and the year of when it will be done by, because somehow it creates a chemical change in the brain that actually starts to encourage me to look for solutions towards achieving the goal. So when you put yourself under pressure to make sure that you're forcing yourself to think about it, but in an exciting way. It puts you under good pressure, not bad pressure. Because when you enjoy the goal that you've set or you create, it should be exciting for you. It should not make you feel sad and depressed and then make you feel like you're not achieving anymore. And I think a lot of people give up when they hit that point. And that is one of the biggest areas that people need to look out for.
Right. There are so many models. You talked about the SMART model, and I want to refer another model for everybody can Google it. GROW, GROW. So goals. If you have goals, you can put into the GROW model, and then you will just get to know there are enough resources in the YouTube about the GROW. How you grow your goal. So based on the GROW, GROW, GROW model. So grow your goals with the GROW model. So there are different models. I'm just telling it again and again so that people, really think it's a fantastic model. So I think we're about to close it. And I'm to close it with Jan, with taking another question. I thought otherwise won't be justifying the question somebody asked. Where is that question? How can I not see it? Surprising. So I got another, let me see it, Ian. So if in the meantime, if you want to talk about any model or any other things that you want to share, let me find the question for you. I'm not getting it, so let's forget it. We're about to close it about an hour. So what you want to say about, putting it into the structure? There are I want to give 2 ways. People has goals, and people has faced life's problem, and then they want to overcome that problem. They want to get rid of that. So that's also become a goal, but that is a different goal than achieving something in left hand and right hand. So quickly, if you can talk about this, how to get over the problems.
Yes, and you get the simplest way you get over the problems by focus on what you want. Sometimes you have to focus on what you don't want, as you said. But it's all about focus. Sadia, our friend from Lebanon, actually had a statement in here as well. As a lot of people don't see it as investing in ourselves, but see it as spending, as spending money and spending time. Both of them, you already mentioned it, and we've all been to IMC, to the International Maxwell Certification. All 3 of us, and Sadia as well, we have invested in ourselves. We never saw it as spending money. See, it's a different mindset as well. When you are investing in you, investing in your betterment, in your future, it's not spending time. And you said as well as, sometimes you don't feel like doing stuff. I mean, you might not feel like doing the job you do, and you do it 5 days a week for 40 years, and you get up every morning for a boss. So if you get up every morning for a boss because you have to, why don't you start working on your goal because you want to? It makes a big difference. You should, but it's a motivation. I think whether we look at the challenges we've had so far, and you mentioned it just now, it is what will motivate you. There's only 2 reasons we change. The one is because we need to, and the other is because we want to. But changing, we will. And I would rather that by setting goals, and if I asked everyone right now who is listening and watching, can you show me a piece of paper or electronically what your goals are for this week? I won't even ask for the year, but what your goals are for this week. How many would be able to show me that piece of paper? How many of our listeners and our viewers would be able to tell me right now what they want to achieve in their life, how they want their life to matter? And I thought, and when you figure that out, and that's why that is so important, because when you figure that out, the goals become easier, the way to achieve them, and you don't look anymore about the challenges you've had, because we've all had challenges, and problems and challenges will always be there. But it's how we react. And as our friend John Maxwell says, success is always uphill. How steep that hill is a lot up to you. It might be the Eiger or the Mont Blanc or Everest, but it could be just a smaller hill in your neighborhood if you decide to make sure that you pay attention to your goals every day. Because what happened, yes, we've had problems and we need to figure out how can we get over them. Well, the problems we have had are here so far. We don't want them to go any further. When I actually drew a line in the sand eventually about my bullying, I said no more. But it didn't change overnight. When I was bullied and the bullying carried on here after it stopped, eventually I said, I can't live the rest of my life like that. But did it change overnight? No. But every day, when we'll talk about intentional living sometime, and we'll talk about finding your why. But every day, all I can say is, if you have something you want to achieve, not just a wish, put your dream to the test by actually making sure that you have a goal that you will follow through every day. Become intentional. Wake up every morning. And don't just think, oh, it'd be nice to do, and maybe sometimes I take action. It means you need to take action on those intentions. So intentional living is waking up every day, making sure you've got something. At least by the end of the day, look back and say, did I achieve at least something? No, never mind how small it is, something towards my bigger goal. And if not, ask yourself, why not? And what can I do tomorrow to make it better? Then we'll take single steps. And yes, we will fail some days. But if we fail some days, that means we don't fail every day. And yes, what did we learn from our failures, and how can we go forward and make sure it doesn't happen again? We need to ask ourselves better questions.
Absolutely. We need to ask ourselves the better question, because answer is there. But also problem is said, a lot of us, we don't know actually what we want. And this majority of us, we really, really don't know. And who really wants to know, for them, if you're facing any problem, there is a model called a SCORE, SCORE, SCORE. Look through this in Google and in YouTube, you'll get to know this model and framework. So we give SMART, we get GROW, we give SCORE. So for the problems, and then get the one problem that I've realized, one issues and one qualities as well, why we fail to overcome or fail to achieve any goal, that is, we get distracted because of we don't have focus, maniacal focus. We don't have the leisure focus. We are not persisting. So we become hopeless. So that's what we want to sum it off with Arthie. So one last comment about it, and then let's close it for the tonight. And we want to invite everybody for the next week, and let us know, what's your goal is and how you want us to help you. So if somebody wants us to help, we will help. If somebody doesn't want, we will not. So asking questions, Arthie. Maniacal focus, laser focus.
I think that the most important thing to remember before we close off is that it's okay to have big goals. It's okay and it's brilliant to want to achieve the beautiful car, the home, the life, the lifestyle that you deserve. What we're talking about today is about the small steps in your personal development to help you in terms of the things that you'll do intentionally every single day that'll help you towards those bigger goals. And what we're talking about is breaking it down into smaller daily tasks that allows you to guarantee your success. And so we want to say that we're all here to help and guide you on that journey. And by working out what your small action steps are that you're battling with every day, just tell us, write it down and put it in the comments box. Tell us, what are the small things that you're battling with in terms of tasks? Where do you need to grow? What do you want to do differently? What are your big goals? What are your small goals? And then we can put in links, and we can refer you to programs, and we can refer you to a lot of areas where we've learned tools and techniques to fast track our success and our growth. And remember that where we are right now, we achieved it slowly. And we've had to learn a lot of stuff and unlearn a lot of bad habits to get here. And we still are growing every single day. So when you're talking to us, it's from our personal experience and what we've done wrong and what we're doing right by adjusting. So writing down all of the things and the areas that you need work in, let us see how we can support you on that journey as well. And then we wish you the best of success, and we look forward to next week where we can add value and see how we can guide and support you better.
Absolutely. So questions are the answer. I want to echo with you, and we have the every resources inside, but we really don't ask the question to us, and we forgot to ask question to ourselves, sadly, badly, and that's the scary part. As Jan said, we really don't know what we really want. If we know and if we believe, we'll get it. They don't need anything. Since somebody do not ask questions, somebody do not know. That's why we're talking. It could have been better not to talk about this helping goal setting. Why? Because there is a need for this. That's why we're talking. I hope and we believe that we want to help everybody, not to undermine. Not that we know everything, but that get to know. We know very little bit, here and there, a few models, a few structure, because we eat, we drink, we breathe, we sense every day, every moment with this. We don't have anything to do rather than thinking about this life and goals and aspirations and making it fun, because to make them real. Because those who know, who can take the experience out of it. Those who don't know, don't know. As simple as that. So go to person who knows, and then you can use that experience on your behalf. You're buying time for your life before you die. Everybody will, right? So that's the thing. On behalf of my good friends, Jan and Arthie from sitting in South Africa, Cape Town, and me sitting in Darktown, Dhaka, Bangladesh. My goal is to roam around the world, and I'm having help each and everybody. Jan and Arthie, I used to be at your place, I don't know when. So, but certainly I'll be. I have reached out, right? I said to you, I want to be in South Africa. When are you inviting me? So, right.
You're welcome anytime the lockdown's over.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Next week, same time, we're looking forward to another exciting sessions and questions to everybody. Reach out to Jan, Arthie, and myself.
Awesome.
you.
Salam.
Salam.
Shukran.
Shukran.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah. Today, I want Arthie to close it. Please close it.
We're looking forward to seeing everybody next week. Same time. Have a most exquisite week ahead, and just enjoy and laugh a little bit more and have more fun. And until the next time we meet, take care and have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Like this. Salute to both and to both person. So thank you.